tell me there is no mystery, mystery, mystery. You can't tell me there is no mystery. It's everywhere I turn.
Hello, students. Today we're going to look at Lesson 6 in our series on philosophy and mathematics. Let's learn today about the tetractys. What is the tetractys? There's the Greek word for tetractys. It's an image. It's a mystical image, very important in Pythagorean thought. It incorporates the symbolism of the triangle. It also incorporates the number 10 in its meaning of perfection and union. The 4 rows add up to 10, which was unity of a higher order. The 10 is known as the decad. So you have layer 1 plus layer 2 plus layer 3 plus layer 4 equals 10, the decad. The top layer is the monad. The monad represents the creator or first cause. Everything that exists was created from it and contained inside of it. The monad is the most important element of the tetractys. Also, it is the least discussed because it is ineffable. Ineffable, that means that you can't think about it or you can't speak about it. So, requires silence. It can't be comprehended by means of rational thinking or discursive reasoning. So the monad is one, as you can see, right? It's one in a funny way. It's not by virtue of not being 2 or 3 or 12 or 20,000. It's just one. It's one indivisibly. It is one always. It's not subject to space or time. There are no contrasts that make it one. It's a one without limitations. It is the one, the ineffable one. It's like the Zen koan. You know, maybe you've heard it. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Obviously, you can't think of one hand clapping. You need 2 hands to clap. Zen people told koans to disrupt rational thinking and break down discursive reasoning and thought to get at the ineffable, the eternal, the one. And so the tetractys is a kind of meditation on the one from Greek times. Next we have, the next layer is the dyad. This is the limit and the unlimited, the 2 dots, the limit and the unlimited, or in Greek, the peras and the apeiron. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. There's a quote from Genesis, but it kind of fits with the dyad, Pythagoras' dyad, the beginning of things. Light separates from darkness. There is a separation of opposites. There is now duality. There is now distinction. We don't just have everything as one. Now we have distinction between 2, this and that, up and down, black and white, and so forth. We have symbolically, like the Taoists, we have the yin and the yang here, the 2 principles. The dyad also is related to rationality or reasoning. The Greek word is logos. Rationality and reasoning begin with the dyad. You can't really reason unless you can say this and not that, or yes and not no. Rationality requires movement of the mind from one point to the next point. So the dyad invites thinking and comprehending because duality is subject to reason. The monad is not subject to reason. What is the sound of one hand clapping? The dyad enters into time and space as 2 points forming a line. This is the first dimension of space. The dyad is like a string of the monochord stretched between 2 points. This is the instrument that Pythagoras asked to hear on his deathbed. It's the Greek instrument where they learned about ratios and harmonic ratios and chords. Next we move to the third line in the tetractys. It's the triad. From the two comes a third, just as mother and father beget a child. Mother and father. Here in the number 3, we have a symbol for love, relationships, reproductivity, and creation. From the two, related to one another, comes the third. Here is the third. On the triad, the first 3 rows of the tetractys form a perfect triangle with a base of 3. The triad can be used to represent the transcendent origin of all things, the creative principle of the universe, and the sustaining principle. You know, in Christianity, you have the transcendent origin of all things as the Father, the Holy Trinity, right? The Son as the creative principle. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, that kind of thing. And then the sustaining principle, love, the Holy Ghost, sustains all things. Love sustains all things, right? So this is Christian, but actually it predates Christianity by quite a bit in Pythagoras. In the triad, you have the number 3 bringing about harmony between opposites. Okay, the principle of harmony enters into the number 3. How? Well, there you have a harp, and you have the 2 ends of the harp, the 2 ends of the heart strings, and there's Bugs Bunny touching each of the strings somewhere along the line. So the moment he plucks a string, it resonates and it creates a harmony. The string itself is the dyad, but in order to make it sound or vibrate, we need a third point on the line. This third point forms the triad. We can touch the string anywhere on the third point in the triad. You could touch it here, 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 anywhere, and it will produce the same sound. So the third point is indeterminate. The triad represents creativity. The 6 pebbles in the triad resemble the mythical 6 days of creation. So Pythagoras used to demonstrate this figure using pebbles. 3 pebbles here, 3 pebbles down here. And you get the 6 days of creation right here with the creative triad. The idea of creation as perfect can be found in the triad, right? All things created are good. Creation is perfect. The number 6 is the first perfect number, being the sum of all its positive divisors. 6 equals 1 plus 2 plus 3. First perfect number, creation is perfect. The triad also represents the second dimension, a plane in space. So here's where you get the beginnings of planar geometry. The tetrad is the bottom row of 4 pebbles representing the cosmos. Through the tetrad, the 3-dimensional world of solid geometry is brought into being. It contains the 4 elements. We've got earth, water, air, and fire. These are the ancient elements, right? Not your periodic table. It's got the 4 seasons, and also the 4 directions, right? All 4 are imbued into the bottom row. The sound of an open string is the triad, right here. But the sound of a pressed string, and therefore a 4th point, represents the material realm, right? So here's your string. You press the string here, and then you pluck it, you get a different pitch right here. So this represents the material realm, and you can also see relations to music and harmonics here. The laws of the tetractys apply to the whole of creation, astronomy, and music. During his mystical journeys, Pythagoras discovered that the movement of the planets creates a music of the spheres. Pythagoras also discovered that musical intervals are ratios between the rows of the tetractys. For example, 4 to 3, perfect fourth, 3 to 2, perfect fifth, 2 to 1, the octave, 1 to 1, unison. There are many other interesting things to learn about Pythagoras and the ancient Pythagoreans. However, we will end our current inquiry with this analysis of the tetractys. The tetractys was a solemn and sacred mathematical symbol for the Pythagoreans. Just as in today's culture, we continue to swear oaths by the Bible or other holy books or icons in courtrooms, or when politicians take a public office, so too did the ancient Pythagoreans swear their oaths by the tetractys, calling it the fount of ever-flowing nature. Let's end today's lesson with one of their ancient mathematical prayers. Bless us, divine number, thou who generated gods and men. O holy, holy tetractys, thou that containest the root and source of the eternally flowing creation. For the divine number begins with the profound, pure unity until it comes to the holy four. Then it begets the mother of all, the all-comprising, all-bounding, the firstborn, the never-swerving, the never-tiring holy ten, the keyholder of all. Ooh. Okay, today's philosophic experiment, students. 1. In your journal, design a figure or shape that you think best represents the cosmos, its origins, and other rich components of existence. For example, music, color, good social or political interactions, education, love and procreation, life and death, God. Do some art today in math class, some geometric art. Hey, number 2, investigate possible metaphoric or symbolic meanings for numbers. How many interpretations of numbers can you come up with? Share some of your ideas. And number 3, what do you think of Pythagoras? Do you like or dislike his ideas? Give some specific examples of things that make you wonder and provoke deeper thought. All right, students, have a wonderful math class, and we'll see you next time.